Want to live a healthy, wealthy, and relevant life? Welcome to Ahead of the Crypto Curve with Najah Janine Roberts.
Commercial, I love it. Just so you all know what we are doing. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Bitcoin Business Basics. I am your host, Najah Roberts, and we have a fabulous guest today in studio. He's not actually in studio, he's in his studio, and I'm in my studio, and we are going to really talk today and really begin to get an understanding on some things that we need to do in the Bitcoin space. Some of you may or may not know this gentleman. He is absolutely incredible. He actually came on Clubhouse a year or so ago, and I met him on Clubhouse. Really loved who he was, his passion, his flexibility, his understanding of the tax market. Anybody that knows me knows I absolutely hate taxes. Hate it even when he's telling me what I need to give him. I have dreaded even giving documents. Not that I don't have them. It's just that I just do not like taxes. But this gentleman is not only is he a taxpayer or tax professional, he is a CPA, certified public accountant. He hails from Los Angeles. We had more synergy than we even knew when we first met. We started comparing some things and found out that we were brother and sisters from different mothers and fathers, and probably about 20-year difference on top of that. But with that being said, I just really appreciate this young brother and what he has to offer. Looking forward to hearing and sharing with him you all today. I'm going to share you all with him today so that he can get some critical information out. So let me introduce to some and present to others, Mr. CJ, the smart guy. What's up, CJ? How you doing?
I'm doing good. And yourself, Najah? Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I am super excited about today. There are so many important things that you have under your belt, and just picking out a couple of them at this point as it relates to what you actually do is we had to pick, but we know you had about 10 things you really needed our community to know. We need to know you because we need to keep as much as we can legally, and pay our fair share and do the things that we need to do. So with that, I'm going to ask you, before you jump into your PowerPoint and before you jump into really teaching us, tell us who CJ, the smart guy, is and where you grew up.
Yeah, so my name is Charles J. Kelly. I grew up Southern California, LA area to Rialto. I am the CEO of CJ the Smart Guys Tax Services, LLC. You can find me on all major platforms at CJ the Smart Guy. That's Instagram, Twitter, Clubhouse, Spotify. I graduated from Texas Southern University, which is a HBCU in Houston, Texas. I used to work out of Vector 90, which is Nipsey Hussle's co-op spot in LA. And I am the resident CPA of the Black Bitcoin Billionaires Club on Clubhouse.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir. Would you mind sharing us what your journey was like becoming a CPA?
Oh, man. That was nothing fun. It's glamorized, but it was nothing fun. You have to pass 4 exams within an 18-month period. All 4 exams adapt to how much you know. So if there's 4 testlets, the first testlet is pretty simple. So you get like 20 questions. If you get 15 right, you think you're doing good. But then the next testlet is going to be based off of those 5 questions that you missed. So you'll get like 4 questions off those 5, and it just gets harder and harder and harder. You You have to pass all 4 tests within 18 months, or you have to restart the first test. And each test is like $250. The study material is like $3,000. And you have to have 2 years of experience underneath a CPA. Then you have to pass your ethics exam. And so it took me about 4 years to finally get it.
Wow.
You can also find on Spotify, I have a podcast called My Journey to Becoming a CPA that details that more in depth.
That is good. And it's great that you actually documented it. And that's how I feel with doing my taxes every year. But no, we really, really applaud you for being a certified public accountant. And I really have a new respect since meeting you for individuals that file taxes, because a lot of times we think of a tax preparer and we think all things are created equal, and they're absolutely not. The CPA is not a tax preparer, and definitely not one of the shade tree tax preparers that some of us used to go to back in the day when we just wanted our tax return. And there's so much more to preparing your taxes and making sure that you're doing the right thing. And I'm just so really honored and really humbled to have met you on the Black Bitcoin Billionaires, and to really be able to honestly say that we're practicing what we preach, or my husband and I are practicing what we preach. And we hired CJ early on when I first met him to do our taxes. And I'm not an easy client, as I stated, not an easy client. And I know that you probably seen worse clients, but I will admit before you start that I'm probably the worst client that you have, because I wait to the last minute to get stuff in and do what I'm supposed to do, even though you've given me stuff probably 2 or 3 months ago to execute. But we won't get on that. But so what is being a CPA in our community? Tell me really quickly before we get into Bitcoin business basics, like, what are some of the things that you see that we need to be changing, aside of the fact that we're folks like me or wait to the last minute? What are some of the things that you see that you wish you could change about our community?
I think the first part is just education. I think a lot of our community is scared of taxes because they don't understand them. And it's done intentionally like that. Taxes are not intuitive. They don't quite make sense. So I understand why a lot of people, they just say, hey, I'm not going to report this. I'm going to hide. I don't want to do this. But in all reality, it's actually more beneficial if you pay your taxes and you reveal it on the back end, because you get lots of credit from it. And with that additional credit, you have additional purchasing power, which a lot of times can offset what you were trying to hide in the first place. So I think our people just need to not be so scared, educate themselves some more, and, get rid of that criminal mindset, in the sense where it's like, hey, I'm not going to tell them I don't need to pay my taxes. Bitcoin doesn't have taxes on it. I think that's the main thing. And unlike other communities, less than 1% of CPAs are Black. And so it's very rare that you have somebody who's speaking to our community about this stuff. That's why you see a lot of our celebrities like Wesley Snipes get into trouble with the IRS, simply because they don't know. And if you didn't know, and your parents didn't know, and your grandparents didn't know, then I can't really blame you, but I'm here to try to prevent that.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you get on into your presentation, because I have a ton of questions, especially as it relates to some of the things that are happening in our businesses as well as our lives. So we'll let you jump in. And again, for those of you that are on Clubhouse, you can go to meetup.com. If you look at the top of the screen on Clubhouse, you can see meetup.com/crypto plug. Register really quickly, and it'll send you the link so that you can see CJ's presentation live and in color. So CJ, take it away.
Yeah, so the presentation I have, it's a PowerPoint. I'm not sure why it's not sharing on my end. I've emailed it to Erica. I think if for me to do it, I'd have to reset it, like the browser. So I'd have to be off for like 1 minute, and then I'd be right back.
So, Erica, if you'd like to share with us what you think would be best. In fact, matter of fact, let me see if I can. If you email it to me.
I have.
Oh, you did?
Mhm.
Okay. I know that you're really efficient. I don't even know why I would even think that you did it. So I have, hold on one second, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if we can get this presentation up for those of you that would like to see the presentation. This gives you an opportunity to do that by clicking the link in the next. I have his presentation. Um, I'm wondering if I should just download it first, then open it up as a PowerPoint over here. There we go. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting the slide. I'm going to share screen. And I'm going to go into presentation right now. Let's see. All right. You let me know when to go forward.
Ready to go? Slide 4.
Slide 4. All right. His slide, ladies and gentlemen, says organize, organize, organize. CJ, the smart guy. And we talked about who he is. And here we go.
Okay, so when it comes to the IRS guidelines for crypto, one of the main, things I want to make sure I educate you on now is that Bitcoin is taxable. A lot of the original people that got into crypto and Bitcoin, they were saying that it's not taxable. The government can't trace it. It's a fight against the government, so they're never going to pay taxes on it. And that's just hogwash. You are required to pay taxes on it. It's in the IRS guidelines. It didn't get a lot of attention until 2017, but in 2019, it hit the actual 1040 individual tax return. It was on Schedule 1, which isn't on the front page, so a lot of people weren't paying any attention. But in 2020, it hit the front page of the tax return. And so if you look at this, the slideshow, it says at any time during 2020, did you receive, sell, send, exchange, or otherwise acquire any financial interest in any virtual currency? They have now updated that for 2021 to basically say, did you receive, sell, exchange, or otherwise dispose of any financial interest in any virtual currency? So what this essentially means is if you had a taxable event, you are supposed to click this box yes on the front page of your 1040. If you click the box no, and you have been doing cryptocurrency trading, buying, selling, or anything like that, then you are essentially committing fraud, and they have an infinite amount of time to audit you for this. If you click the box yes, it takes fraud and evasion off the table. So chances are they only have 3 years to come after you. And so I always recommend all my clients click the box yes, whether they believe they have crypto transactions or not, because a lot of times you have it and don't even realize it, whether you get an airdrop, whether you get rewards, whether you get a learn on Coinbase or something like that and receive, some type of earnings. These exchanges are not going to give you 1099s and things of that nature. So you need to report it yourself, and you have the responsibility to do that. And clicking this box yes just takes fraud off the table. So let's go to the next slide. So this goes into what are taxable events versus non-taxable events. If you are just buying your cryptocurrency with US dollars, that's not taxable. If you are moving it from one wallet to another wallet that they're both yours, it's not taxable. If you're donating to somebody and it's under 15,000, it's not taxable. If you donate to a 501c3, it's not taxable. And I, recommend people donating instead of just necessarily donating money like US dollars to 501c3s. Donating cryptocurrency may be more beneficial. So, when we think about Crypto Kids Camp, I think that's a huge way for the donators to avoid paying taxes legally, you being able to receive money as a Crypto Kids Camp organization, and being able to help the kids out. I think it's a win-win-win situation. So I typically recommend donating with Bitcoin gains versus just US dollars. And another question I get is if they get crypto like cash back rewards, like on a Fold app, those are actually not taxable events. Those are considered like discounts. So if you get like a credit card and you get 1 or 2% back, you don't pay taxes on that. Same with crypto, you don't pay taxes on that either. But what are taxable? There's two different categories of taxes. You have ordinary income and you have capital gains. When it comes to ordinary income, if you get paid in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, that's regular income. You're going to be taxed at your regular, wage amount. If you have an airdrop, a fork, interest, staking, or mining income, those are all ordinary income. So you're just going to be taxed at what you normally would, like with your job. Then you have capital gains losses, which is when you sell cryptocurrency, you spend it, or you exchange it for another cryptocurrency. Capital gains are taxed more favorably. If you are making under 50,000, then you may not pay any capital gains at all. Most people is 15%, and if you're wealthy, it's 20%. So the next slide. So this is called, Bitcoin basics and business. So some of the business necessities is you need to create a business entity. What I typically recommend to my clients is to have a separate business entity for your long-term crypto, meaning if you plan on buying it and holding it for a long time, setting that up in one business entity. And then if you have short-term crypto for like your trades, to have that in a separate business entity. Reason being is because if you get sued, you don't want whoever's suing you to take all your business assets. If they take your long term, they can't take your short term, and they can't take your personal. The LLC typically protects you from getting everything that you own being taken away from you. So I always recommend have a business entity. Once you have a business entity, you want to get you a irs.gov EIN number. An EIN is essentially a social security number for your business. Then from there, you want to open up a business bank account with your EIN. And then you want to have a designated Bitcoin wallet for that business bank account. So for instance, say if I have a wallet and, I'm receiving cryptocurrency for my clothing line. I have Smart Guy Clothing. Anybody who pays me with Bitcoin, they get a 10% discount. If they are sending me to a Bitcoin wallet, if I ever decide to cash out to US dollars, I want to make sure it's consistent with my business bank account that's associated with that. I do not want to be commingling my personal Bitcoin with my businesses and vice versa. When you do that, a lot of times you take away the liability protection you have from lawsuits, because the IRS will call it commingling of funds, and they can take everything you're worth. That's very important. Most tax preparers won't tell you about stuff like that. So next slide. So there are different types of business entities. I mentioned the LLC. That's the easiest one to create. I know here in Texas, it's $310 to create. You pay $50 every year to keep it up. California is a little different. I believe it's like $175 to create, but then it's $800 a year to keep up. So, you might want to look into that. If you're making more than $50,000 worth of profits, you might want to look into a S corporation so that you don't have to pay as much self-employment taxes. Then you have a C corp. I typically don't recommend this for any small businesses or anybody who's starting, but C corporations are, like a Nike or a Google. If you have lots of investors, like over 500 of them, then that's what a C corp would be. Partnerships and sole proprietors don't have any protection when it comes to lawsuits. So I don't recommend those at all. LLC is probably your easiest. And if you file your taxes as an LLC, you can choose either a partnership or as a corporation, but every situation is different. So you might want to reach out to your practitioner to go over that with you. Any questions so far?
All right. Well, the ladies in the chat, since you have the couple of more slides, why don't we go through the slides and then we'll ask people to hold their questions, because I see a couple hands on one hand on Clubhouse, but we'll wait for you to finish because you may answer our question.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so now I'll get a little bit more in depth. Those are all the real, basics. So now, when it comes to organizational steps, you want to create public keys for each business. When you do this, so for instance, I have Smart Guy Clothing, I have CJ the Smart Guy's Tax Services, I have, Smart Guy Consulting. I have a multitude of businesses. I just want to make sure I have a different public key for each business and for each cryptocurrency. So Smart Guy Clothing can take Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, Doge, all of those different coins. And I want to have a different wallet for each business for each one of those coins. So I might have like 15 wallets across 3 different businesses. And you want to make sure that you keep it organized. Remember, the first slide said organize, organize, organize. Please do not intermingle all this stuff, because that can get chaotic, not just for your CPA who's keeping track of it, but the IRS, if they get too confused, they're just going to take away your limited liability status, and you might be in some big trouble. So you want to export all those transactions from all those wallets into a digital folder. What this is going to allow you to do is keep everything organized. And then if you have all of these transactions in a spreadsheet, you want to label each one of these expenses for what it is. So if you go to your Schedule C on your 1040, you'll see that the IRS has different expense categories. They have advertising, commissions and fees, insurance, interest, utilities, meals, things of that nature. And so you just want to make sure that you're identifying what each one of these expenses were for, so that you can create your financial statements with these transactions. And then you want to make sure you uniformly save all the transactions to one spreadsheet. This essentially becomes your Bible if the IRS ever audits you. If they audit you, which, Biden added $80 billion to the IRS, and in the infrastructure bill, they said that there's going to be additional tax enforcement on cryptocurrency investors. So chances are a lot of cryptocurrency investors will be audited. Every time that you buy on a cryptocurrency exchange and they ask for your KYC, know your customer, and you give them your social security number, they're essentially able to track all your transactions. Anything over 20,000 is automatically sent to the IRS. 10,000 now is what they're trying to lower it to. However, when it comes to US dollars, it's been 10,000, and 5,000 is what the bank has to keep account for. So if you're ever under audit, any transaction over 5,000 US dollars is going to be kept track of. And so as a crypto digital asset, I would keep the same rules as it is with US dollars. Anytime you have more than $5,000 worth of crypto that you're transferring on a daily basis, I would want to make sure that you are reporting it and you're labeling everything correctly. If you don't do this, it just opens you up to a lot of issues. So the next slide. Oh, so then this brings me to a way to actually execute this. So if you go to Unstoppable Domains, you can actually buy crypto domains. So the one that I mostly use, and that's the only one I'll talk about, is the .crypto. So essentially, you can, what I have is smartguytaxes.crypto, and once I buy that and I claim that, it'll ask me for my Bitcoin wallet, my Ethereum wallet, my Litecoin wallet, my XRP wallet, and what I'll do is I'll make sure all those are attached to my business bank account for that individual business. And so if I ever decide to cash out, it goes directly to my business account, and it's just an easy way to track it. So I really like using this method on unstoppable domains. So these are the overall basics. I'm sure there are plenty of questions, but I didn't want to go too far in depth with any one topic because, I mean, every situation is different. So I think now is a good time to start answering questions. Yeah.
All right, we'll do that. We'll stop sharing on the screen. Hopefully, I can get it back and we will. And thank you for that presentation. I know that we have a few questions. Moderators, do you see any questions on the actual, on YouTube, Facebook, any of those? If not, I definitely have a couple of questions.
Okay.
That I would like to ask. So, why would you suggest, or why do you suggest that people donate with Bitcoin?
Yeah. So if you donate your cryptocurrency, what that does, so say if you bought Bitcoin when it was $5,000 and you donate it when it's at $50,000, you do not have to pay that capital gains tax on that donation. It eliminates the capital gains tax. So it's one of the ways that you can, get your gain, donate it to your 501c3 of your choice, and be able to, philanthropically help out the community, whether it's through education or through whatever that 501c3's purpose is. But you won't have to pay any taxes on it, and you can, write off the original cost basis of it. And so this year, the first $300 if you're single, $600 if you're married, is actually a really good tax deduction. And then other than that, anything over 10% of what you make is a good tax deduction. It's itemization. And so I think that donating crypto is a lot better than US dollars, because if you donate US dollars, you're not taking advantage of that, capital gains increase, if that makes sense. So,
Okay.
So say if you bought crypto at 500, you sell it for 50,000, you have a huge capital gain, and then you donate, versus if you have that capital gain and you just donate it originally, you never have to pay the capital gains tax. So it's better to just it's better to just donate your crypto without selling it, versus selling it, having a capital gains tax, and then donating it. Does that make sense?
It makes a whole lot of sense. And so, since we are talking about Bitcoin business basics, and in our community, we definitely have a lot of nonprofit organizations that can benefit from some of the crypto donations. I'm just going to take a second and share with you some of what has transpired for us this year as it relates to Crypto Kids Camp, so you all get an idea of what's really out there, what's happening. So, we got involved, Crypto Kids Camp, as a business, nonprofit business, got involved with a company called The Giving Block. So the Giving Block wasn't exactly easy for us to, um, it wasn't exactly easy for us to get started with. In fact, there was a little bit of pushback from me initially, because in order for them to raise crypto money for us at the Giving Block, we literally had to pay $2,500, ladies and gentlemen, to be a part of the Giving Block. And so I met with these gentlemen, and I realized, I realize in our communities, there's a lot of different things that we don't know. And so I was willing to really take a chance and go ahead and donate, but I had to understand why. Um, so what wound up happening is sitting down with them, they said, hey, look, if you donate, if you go ahead and pay the $2,500, we handle your marketing, we do all these things, XYZ, and we can guarantee you that by the end of the year, you will have made your money back, or your organization will have gotten their money back and some more in crypto donations. So I stepped out on faith and I went ahead and did the $2,500 for Crypto Kids Camp to get on the giving block. We have, through the giving block, collected, I want to say, at least $50,000 in 2021 through the giving block. And what they did was they put our organization along with other organizations in front of people who had Bitcoin and cryptocurrency that they wanted to donate. So I'm saying that to you all, ladies and gentlemen, so that you know, if you have a nonprofit organization or any organization that you may be looking to get crypto donations from, and it is, it's a business where you have employees and you have a great cause and a mission, you can literally get on the giving block and they will help promote your what you're doing for the community through their platform. But not only that, just recently, in fact, today, I'll go ahead and share. Today we had a meeting with someone, a very large exchange today that is looking to donate, and they found us on the giving block. So we had our first meeting today with the organization. Once we solidify what's going on, we'll announce it to everybody. But literally, all these folks that were given, they gave us Bitcoin. We didn't even know where some of our donations were coming from because people just anonymously sent Bitcoin. They didn't say anything. The giving block actually gives them their receipt if they wanted it, but we didn't have to handle any of that footwork. And I think it's a really great opportunity. So that's why I asked you, CJ, about why it's maybe better to invest Bitcoin or your cryptocurrency, and then letting our community know that there's an avenue that we are using that is working for our organization. And so I just wanted to share that really quickly. One of the other questions I had in your presentation, you were talking about taxable events. Mm-hmm. And I understand that staking is a taxable event once the gain or the percentage. So let's just say, for instance, you're staking Bitcoin with this company that's telling you that they're giving you 8%, and you get 8% every single month back on the Bitcoin that you staked on their platform. Are you saying, through what you said, that we would pay 15% on that 8%? Or am I saying that backwards? Yeah, we pay 15% of that 8%.
So what I'm saying is, say if you have $100, you stake it. So $100 worth of Bitcoin, and you stake it.
Yes.
You, at the end of the year, you've got an $8 of interest income. Okay. That $8 that you get is considered income, and that's considered ordinary income. Okay. So you'd have to pay that. That'd be at whatever your typical ordinary wages are. Okay. And then say if that $100 worth of Bitcoin then turns into $200 worth of Bitcoin, and then you unstake it and then sell it, then you'd have a capital gain from the $100 to $200, and then that might be at the 0, 15, or 20% capital gains tax.
That is interesting, but you still have to pay the okay, I get it. Okay, so I'm hoping everybody else was able to catch that as well, that may be asking that question about taking gains.
I will say the one way to try to offset that, one thing that I personally do is I borrow against some of my crypto. So I wind up paying interest. And what I try to do is make sure that the interest that I receive is offset against the interest that I pay. So I never pay tax on interest. And then because I'm borrowing against it and never selling it, I don't pay any taxes on the borrowing. And so I actually wind up not paying taxes hardly at all legally, because I don't sell, I don't spend, and I don't trade it. I just buy it, hold it, borrow against it, and the interest that I get is offset against the interest that I pay.
All right. Well, I have another question, but I'm going to yield the floor to Linda Morgan Sam. Linda, welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. My question is, if I, unbeknownst to me, have purchased hundred, one thing said $200,000 worth of Bitcoin because I was considered an unboarder for a platform, how am I impacted?
So let me help CJ.
Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, I definitely do. Don't worry about it. I got you. So, and I'm going to bring this up because, and first of all, I'll say thank you to Linda Morgan Sam for supporting and being a supporter of my Black business. She is one of our faithful clients. But prior to her finding out about crypto blockchain plug and really learning the deal, because she's involved with a company who was onboarding people buying Bitcoin. She was buying the Bitcoin through exchanges in her name. So
Okay.
She's bought in excess of $200,000 in 2021 worth of Bitcoin, but she bought the Bitcoin for people that she then gave it to them. And let me clear this up really quickly, ladies and gentlemen. She didn't know that that was illegal, and several other people that are doing it didn't know that it was illegal. You cannot buy Bitcoin for somebody else and then sell it to them without having the right licenses and things like that. But as soon as she found out, she has now been our client. Again, I said a faithful client, so we appreciate her. But what is she going to be able to do, if anything, because she's purchased $200,000 worth of Bitcoin? Let's just say through Binance over the last year.
So that's a tough one. From a legal perspective, I would definitely recommend having a lawyer. From a tax IRS perspective, what I would do is I would record all of those buys, and then when you give it, I would just consider those as expenses. So if you're buying it and then immediately giving it to somebody or doing it something like that, I would consider that a business expense. And so from a tax perspective, unless you're making gains on it, it should, for the most part, just offset. So if you're buying it immediately and selling it immediately, all you should be recording like as profit is, the difference between what you bought it for and what you gave it for. But I would definitely report it, because if you're using a Binance exchange, Binance is going to be reporting it to the IRS. And when they cross-examine your social security number with, your tax return, if they don't see some type of report on that, that's an easy audit, and you're just going to get caught up with the computers. It won't even be a human. It'll just be automatic. You'll be part of that $80 billion that Biden's added to the IRS. But if you at least report it, and you offset it with expenses, you may not be flagged as quickly. And they only have 3 years to really come after you. As long as you click that box yes, and you're not more than 25% off in terms of what you owe. So that would be my best bet. But in terms of legalities, you might want to have a lawyer that you talk about, just to make sure that, you're not doing anything completely jailable offense or anything like that. But from the IRS perspective, that's how I would handle it.
Miss Linda, she said when she was about to choke before you told her about the attorney. But she's running, she definitely has a viable business that she's been working on for the entire year. And they've been using Bitcoin to do that business. So now she knows better. So Linda, I believe, CJ, I know that you're not her accountant, but what will she need to print to give to her accountant to show that she purchased that $200,000? And then how will she show that she's given that $200,000 to her actual platform or wherever she was buying the Bitcoin for?
Yeah, so just like how it was in the slide, what you're going to want to do is you're going to get all the transactions. So from all your different exchanges, whether it's whether it's Cash App, whether it's, whomever, you want to make sure you get all those all those transactions that you've ever done. And you want to have a column where you label what they're all for, whether it's from a personal wallet to a personal wallet to somebody else. You just want to make sure you're as detail oriented as possible, label everything. And then, once you,
I'm sorry, I ain't gonna do all that. Is there somebody in this space that does that I can hire, please, ASAP?
That's why he's on the stage. She said, is it somebody that she can hire ASAP, because she's not going to do all that. But let me tell you this. Well, yeah, let me tell you this, Miss Linda, because everybody is listening, and this is the honest to goodness truth. He can do the paperwork to submit to the IRS, but we have to gather all those transactions to give to him to do his job. And that's why I started off this meeting saying 2 months ago, he sent me what he needed from me in order to execute my taxes. And I have yet to do and get those things to him. And it's not because I don't have them. I just dread going inside of each one of these exchanges and downloading all these documents. But you're going to have to. We have to.
Don't we got some young folks that we could pay to do this? Come on now, I'm 60
No. So the way that crypto works is that it's pseudonymous. So because it is unregulated, with more freedom comes more responsibility. Say if you buy something from Cash App, and you send it to another public wallet, Cash App has no concept that you're sending it to your own wallet, or if you're sending it to a friend, or if you're buying goods and services. And so as of right now, Cash App can't send you a 1099 to fill out. And if you give me the transaction, all I'm going to do is ask you, what was this transaction for? Because Cash App doesn't know. I don't know. Only you know. And if you don't report it, then the IRS looks at it and they're going to automatically say that it's a taxable event because they want your money. So if you decide to not do any of this, then you're opening yourself up to the biggest amount owed, and you're going to get a fat paperwork from the IRS saying you owe a whole bunch of money, and then you're going to want to hire me. And then by then the fees are a lot higher versus doing it up front and making sure that you're good on the front end. There's no way to avoid labeling what your transactions are for unless you want to pay the maximum in taxes.
Okay, so Brother CJ, unbeknownst to me, all of this was Greek when I got involved in all of this. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is, listening to this now, we need to start training up a little army of lieutenants to do this grunt work for us baby boomers.
Understood.
We need some lieutenants to do this grunt work for us baby boomers, because I couldn't tell you or be able to even know where to go to get all them $200,000 worth of transactions. And oh my Lord, I'm about to freak out.
I wouldn't freak out. I would just start, trying to find them. If you use just Binance or you use just a couple exchanges, it's not that bad. What really can get crazy is when you have like DeFi and you have like 20 different exchanges. There are softwares that can somewhat help with this, but you're still going to have to log into the exchanges. You're still going to have to provide your APIs. I know Coinly with a K, they can help out, but they're not going to give you correct tax numbers. That's my expertise, but organizing it, there's nobody who can help with that just by the nature of the way that cryptocurrency is created. Think about this. With the US dollar, when you're using your bank account or your bank card, it gets charged to your bank. And then if you have QuickBooks set up, QuickBooks is going to guess what it's for based off of your vendor. So if you go to Walmart, they might say, oh, this is office supplies. If you go to McDonald's, they're going to say this is meals. But with cryptocurrency, they have no idea of knowing what the vendor is. That's the whole point of cryptocurrency, is it's pseudonymous. So the IRS doesn't like that. So they're going to automatically say it's a taxable event if you don't do it. I can create an army of people who can, help, but it's always going to be a two-way street until it becomes more regulated, which in 2023 it probably will be. But by then you're going to have a lot of cryptocurrency people upset because now they're going to be paying a whole bunch in taxes. Right now, cryptocurrency is very tax friendly. It's just extremely difficult to prove it. Later on down the road, it'll be easier to prove, but you'll be paying a whole lot more.
And let me go ahead and stop right there, because one of our staff members is absolutely correct. And I should have said this before, and again, just not really paying attention. We're broadcasting. We're definitely broadcasting. So, but we do know that you don't have the $200,000. So we're not at risk of anybody coming after you to try to get your $200,000, because it was just something that you purchased for the business that you were working in. So you're safe in that matter. But I guess any other further information, just make sure that there's no other specifics that you're giving out, because we are broadcasting. So we want to make sure that you're safe in that way. So thank you.
Yeah, I don't have it. Please trust and believe. I got it.
And this is just financial education. This is not financial advice.
Yeah.
We're just trying to educate you on the basics of cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency taxes, Bitcoin in particular.
Well, thank you for sharing that too. And so I'm gonna just follow up, because some people's side hustle may be, and this was not her side hustle. So let me make sure I'm saying this again. But there are folks out there whose side hustle is to sell Bitcoin. It is illegal for you to sell, even though it says that it is peer to peer. I get it. We read it. That's what the white paper says. But that is not the case when it comes to folks that are selling Bitcoin. They have been prosecuting folks for the last, I can name almost 3 or 4 years. I know several people that have went to jail for buying Bitcoin for somebody else and giving it to them. It is totally illegal because that person did not KYC themselves. So just know that. Again, this has nothing to do with Miss Linda. I am just sharing that information, because if that's the side hustle you want to get in, you better go and grab a license to do it, because they are not playing with it at all. So that is one thing I'll share on the business side.
So, my last question, Najah. So, since I have purchased quite a bit from you, can you start this tool, ledger, whatever I need to start, and then I can go from there?
So for our clients that use Crypto Blockchain Plug, we can give you a reconciliation, yes, every time that we send Bitcoin from our wallet to your wallet. We can definitely do that. But I wanted to also share that, and this is not to you, Miss Linda, at all. This is just for general purposes. This is one of the other reasons why me, as a recovering coinaholic, decided that it was just better for me to buy Bitcoin and not go from coin to coin, from this place to this place to this, because the nightmare that you are about to encounter, I did it back in 2019 when we opened here. I think it was 2019, 2018, and it was horrific. And so I never, ever, ever in my life want to do that again. So that is why I am not all super excited when I hear that somebody is making some money on some coin and we jumping from Bitcoin to that coin and from this coin back to this coin. It like ain't even worth it to me for the headache that I had to endure to deal with the IRS. And so I just want to share that again. That's not directed at you, Miss Linda. That's just me. Just kind of sharing. So yes, if you used our exchange, we can start to give you the transactions of when you purchased with us and what we sent over to you. But then in your particular case, you're going to have to go from where you then got the Bitcoin. Well, the Bitcoin was from us straight to your wallet, wherever you told us to give it to you. But then you got to worry if you pulled anything off that platform. The other reason why nobody else can help you, and I know CJ said this, and I'm going to say it a different way. You'd have to give everybody your password, usernames and passwords for them to get inside of your accounts to reconciliate for you. And that is what you don't want to do, because at a later date, they can come back and take your Bitcoin out.
Oh, Lordy.
All right.
I don't want your passwords. I don't want anybody's passwords. I don't want
Just
anybody's
like you
passwords.
don't want your Bitcoin. That's one of the major reasons when you buy Bitcoin from us, we do not custody it. We want you to have your Bitcoin and not us. We want you to have your passwords and not us. So with that, I'm going to go to Miss Karen. Miss Karen, welcome to the stage. And welcome to Granny Crypto and Black Regal and D and Natalie and Ryan. Oh, I see Hugh up there. I'm sorry, Hugh. Hugh, welcome to the stage.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, Miss Karen, give me a second. I didn't see Hugh up there.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. Yes, Mr. Hugh.
Okay, I think mine is kind of simple. In the beginning, like not knowing anything about, what you do about Bitcoin, and I filed my taxes. I'm retired, so I don't, work for money, so to speak. So, and I was told that I was fine because I didn't owe anything. So whether the box was checked, I don't remember. I may have to go back and look, but I do know that person that did my taxes did go through the IRS, so I'm assuming that they know. So, but from this point on, I wanted to deal with someone that knew about Bitcoin, because I believe in holding. So I was wondering, is there some type of way that I can get with you, off this page today, and have a conversation about being an accountant for do my work for me.
Yes. So what I'm going to say, I'm going to answer yes for him. I am going to, in the virtual Underground Railroad, I will put CJ the Smart Guy's information, a picture of him, his phone number, and his email in there for you. I'm pulling it right now, and I'm going to stick it in the virtual Underground Railroad so you can find them in there, okay?
Okay, thank you so very much.
You are so welcome. I'm going to use I got a picture right here, so we'll get that for you. All right. And again, to Hugh, thank you for supporting Black businesses. Thank you for supporting Crypto Blockchain Plug along with Miss Linda. So we appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you also.
All right, Miss Karen, you are next.
Thank you for calling me to the stage. I came in a little late on the conversation, and I have two questions. One may sound kind of silly, but I don't understand. So if I buy Bitcoin and hodl it, is that a taxable event?
Nope.
Do I have to report it to the IRS?
Nope. However, I would still recommend checking the box yes. They've come out with publications saying that you don't have to, but I would still click the box yes, because if you bought it from an exchange and you KYC'd, it can just look in appearance that you're hiding something. So I'll just click the box yes, but you do not have to report the transaction whatsoever, and you don't have to pay any taxes on it.
So I say yes, I bought Bitcoin, but I don't report how much. Is that how it works?
Correct. I'll just click the box yes and then not report anything, because you don't have any taxable events. That's my recommendation. There will be some CPAs who will say click the box no, but I tell all of my clients to click the box yes, just to take fraud and evasion off the table. It's not about hiding it. It's about that you legit don't have any taxable events, but you bought some, so you just click the box yes.
Okay, and that leads me two more questions. One, I'm interested in connecting with you, CJ, to be an accountant for me, because again, like a lot of people, I love Bitcoin, and I think it's going to go very, very far. So, and the other question I have is there a way of buying Bitcoin without somebody clocking what you buy, without KYC?
I'll let Najah answer that one.
He trying to put Najah under the gun. So the answer to that, the legal answer to that is there are now some DeFi platforms, DeFi, decentralized finance platforms, that will solicit and will let you know that you can buy Bitcoin without having to KYC. On my end, we have to KYC because we're bound by law. Not that we report unless they come to us and ask us, was so-and-so your client, which over the last, we'll be in business 3 years this coming March 9th. We have only had one investigator come to us and ask us the name of a person if they purchased from us, or if a wallet address Bitcoin was ever sent to. 1 out of 3 years. So I'll just say it that way. So we don't have the fiduciary responsibility to report who buys Bitcoin from us. However, we have to do the KYC and the due diligence. But there are platforms like Coinbase that automatically give your information to the IRS, the Homeland Security, et cetera, et cetera. And there's several others that fall under that. So just make sure that you are aware of that. And I think that'll be enough said from me.
And I'll also piggyback off of that, is that if you have an event, meaning you buy or sell or trade any cryptocurrencies over $10,000, even if you don't have a KYC, you are legally supposed to file within, I think, 15 to 30 days and let the IRS know that you did that transaction, or else that's actually a felony. So just, if you're using those DeFi platforms, they aren't going to provide any paperwork to you. But if you know you're dealing with more than 10,000, you have the responsibility to report that. How would they figure that out? We'll find that out going forward. But just letting you know that anything over 10,000, you are supposed to report that to the IRS directly, especially if the brokerage, in this case, meaning DeFi, doesn't report it. It's your responsibility.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And how do I contact
CJ, he's CJ the Smart Guy on all social media platforms. And if you're in the virtual Underground Railroad, he actually has his own section called Crypto Taxes.
I never heard of that. What is that? The virtual Underground Railroad. Is it a website?
It is, yes, it's a website. It's virtualundergroundrailroad.io. virtualundergroundrailroad.io. And
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm posting his information in there right now as we speak.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. But you can find him on social media for those of you that don't have the virtual Underground Railroad .io and don't plan on it. He is CJ the Smart Guy on all platforms. So please reach out to him, and he is absolutely awesome, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Audrey, welcome to the stage.
Good. My connection, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. How are you?
Finding yourselves. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
So, I'm writing down stuff. I got any.
Okay, Miss Audrey, I think we lost you.
More losses. Excuse me?
No, go ahead. Start from the beginning because we lost you for a second.
Let's see. Every time I speak, it says it's a poor connection.
No. We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
So if you have more losses than you have wins, like, Oh gosh, it's so confusing. I've been here for a while, but I'm confused, especially when it comes to these taxes. And I feel like another woman was saying, like, I'm stressed. I'm over 60. Sometimes I'm like, can't catch on quick. So nonetheless, so I struggle with trust in people. And so I'm in the Philadelphia area. I don't know if should I be looking for someone such as yourself that's, in Cali, or someone in my own area to handle this, and how do I vet people for trust?
Okay, that's a great question. So, me being a CPA, when it comes to federal and state taxes, it doesn't matter what state I'm based out of. My license is based in California, but I live in Texas. I don't like paying state taxes, so that doesn't really make a difference. When it comes to being able to trust, that's a tough one. What I typically tell clients, and it's different in crypto because there's very few of us, to be honest with you. It's such a select few that specialize in this area. It might be difficult, but normally what I tell people is if you hire a CPA, also hire an auditor. Don't let them know that don't let the CPA know that you hired an auditor, and have that auditor double check the CPA's work. The auditor is technically another CPA, and normally the auditor wants to take the CPA's job. So the auditor will try their best to try to find everything wrong that the CPA did. And when it comes to business, you typically don't ever just trust any one person. You create a system and have the system be trustless. That's kind of the whole idea of cryptocurrency and blockchain in itself, is that you create a system that so you don't have to trust any one person. In business, that's typically how it's done. But in this crypto space, it's very difficult because there's not too many of us in the space who know this stuff. As of right now, I've been in the space for 4 to 5 years. I only know 5 cryptos or CPAs that are focused on cryptocurrency taxes, and I know hundreds, if not thousands, of CPAs, and I only know about 5 of them that are focused on this area. So that's a very tough one. And even the ones that I do know, most of them aren't as outspoken as I am about it. Most of them are charging exorbitant fees and are keeping a lot of the knowledge to themselves because they know that they've got it on lock. I came up in this crypto space completely broke, and so I've learned this stuff as I'm growing, and so I'm growing with the community. I'm not somebody who's rich and then coming into the community to extort it. So I don't really know how else you would trust, but I typically would recommend having a system where you don't have to trust anybody and you can just review everything yourself. But with that, you're going to have to do a lot of research on your own as well.
Thanks, CJ. I think I don't know if she's gone or I don't see her anymore. Is it just me? I don't see her anymore. So anyway, thank you for answering that question.
All right. And then thank you, Miss Natalie. I'm trying to look here all over the place because I'm lost in the sauce trying to give them his contact information. I think we have one more person on the stage. That's Miss Gail. Welcome, Miss Gail. Ooh, we got 6 hands raised. Oh my goodness. I guess that's not it. CJ, let me in respect to the time, Miss Gill, we definitely have your question. But CJ, in the respect of time. I guess that's not it. CJ, let me in respect to the time, Miss Gill. How many people how many more minutes do we have so I can keep this to a minimum?
I could do another 20 minutes.
Okay, so everybody whose hand raised is raised, and then if you are not coming up right now, we are cutting off the hand raising right now. So please come up. You have 5, 4, Rec Club, Story Genius, I'm Sinless. That is it. All right. All right, so we have everybody to the stage. So Miss Gail, welcome.
Hi, my question is, I did have some capital gains. I bought and sold something last year. So what do I need to do? I'm sorry, did I miss it earlier, or was it just on businesses?
No, he's been talking about both. So she bought something, she has capital gain because she bought and sold something. What should she do?
So depending on how you bought it, typically on an exchange, you want to, export the transactions into Excel, and look at, every situation is different. I don't know, how many buys versus how many sells, but the biggest thing you want to do is keep everything organized. So what I typically tell people is, export all the transactions from each one of your exchanges, put them all into one Excel file. So each exchange would have a different tab, then organize all the transactions on another tab, and then calculate the capital gains or losses that way. That's the most simple way to organize it. Other people will say to download a software to use like Coinly with a K. I know that one's pretty helpful, but I never trust any of those software's numbers when it comes to what you actually owe, because they simply don't know. It's going to be a two-way street no matter what, unless you are willing to pay the max in tax. Because the IRS, they're always going to say you owe a whole bunch more money than you do. But that's the best way to do it, is you export all your transactions from each exchange, put it in Excel, have a different tab for each exchange, and then organize everything into one tab for all-time transactions. If you don't want to do all of that, then use like a software such as Coinly with a K, and they'll keep track of everything. But then you'll still need to provide additional information for your tax practitioner, or if you decide to do it yourself.
Okay, I only used Coinbase, and I can pull out a report where it shows each and every transaction.
Yep. You would make sure you do it on the computer, not the phone. You go to www.coinbase.com, export your transactions, and then you'll be able to see all the transactions. But then there's still more additional work that you would need to do, because they're not going to give you a 1099 or any tax forms because it's not regulated yet.
Oh, it told me they were going to send out a 1099.
If they do, then it's probably not going to be 100% accurate. They're going to make you pay the max tax.
Okay. Well, I will definitely look you up and reach out because I'm confused also, but I'm hungry too. Okay, thank you.
It's a confusing space. Look, it's very confusing. In 2023, it'll become a whole lot easier, but just understand that once it becomes easier, you'll be paying a whole lot more in taxes.
Okay. I will definitely reach out to you.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Gil. Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. We'll tuck you down in the audience, and thank you for your question. Next, we have Miss Joy, then we have Kenneth and Audrey, and then we're going to call it a day.
Hi, Najah. Thank you so much for being here. I have 3 questions. They're short. So the first one is, will this be available for a replay if there's something you need to review?
Yes, ma'am. So you can go to YouTube and find Crypto Blockchain Plug on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and you'll be able to see this recording. We're actually streaming live right now.
I'm watching it on YouTube as well.
Oh, so you can replay it. As soon as we get off, you can replay it again.
Okay, perfect. And then the second question is, CJ, you mentioned getting a domain and you listed some of the different prefixes, but I don't understand why you need why I haven't started to purchase yet. So I'm doing my research to educate myself so I make sure that when I do it, I'm doing it right. Why would I need a domain before purchasing?
It's not a necessity. It's an easier way to organize things. So say Cash App, a lot of times they will change your public keys every time you receive something, and that can sometimes be confusing. So what I normally do is I have a domain. So I have smartguytaxes.crypto, And in there, they'll say, okay, well, what's your Bitcoin wallet address? What's your Ethereum wallet address? What's your Litecoin? What's your XRP? And so whenever somebody sends anything to one of, sends it to my domain, it goes to one of those. And then I have all of those attached to my business bank account. So for me, it's just very easy for me to keep track of what business is what, because I have like 6 businesses. So if I just use Cash App for everything, by the end of the year, it's going to drive me absolutely nuts. If you just have one business, or you're just doing on the personal side, you may not have to do that. But if you have a multitude of businesses like I do, you have to keep things organized, and I think that's the easiest way to do it.
Let me interject really quick. Because I know probably, and actually that's one of the things that's on my third question to ask. I never asked, and I wasn't going to ask it. I was just going to get some clarification. So you know how, ladies and gentlemen, when you go to your Bitcoin wallet and it gives you all those numbers, letters, X's and O's, it's like 38, 40 characters. And you have to copy it, and then you have to then say, if you want to send me Bitcoin, send it to this address, or you go into Binance or Cash App or one of them, and you put in your Bitcoin wallet address and tell Cash App to send it to this wallet. Well, with a domain from Unstoppable Domain, you no longer need that long configuration of letters, numbers, and whatever. It's just for instance, mine is najahroberts.crypto. So I can go to anybody, whether they're paying me in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, XRP, and I can give them najahroberts.crypto. They can put that in as a wallet address, and it automatically sends it to my wallet, because inside of najahroberts.crypto, I have already designated the wallet address that each one of those different cryptocurrencies is going to be routed to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And my final question is, for both of you, if for somebody who's brand new, like I don't like all that jargon you just said about the different, where do I go to learn the jargon?
So this is what I'm going to do for you, Miss Joy. Miss Natalie is right there. I'm gonna ask her to help me out because I'm trying to multitask.
I already gave it to her.
So if you look in your back channel, which is the little look like paper airplane to the right of the bottom of your screen, Miss Natalie will have put a Bitcoin starter kit back there for you.
Oh my goodness, bless you. Thank you.
And anybody else, I'm trying to juggle the screen and this Clubhouse. So please, Ms. Natalie is always great at doing that. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me. Just to thank you guys very much. I did not hear. I got kicked all the way out. But I will go back to YouTube and re-listen. CJ, thank you so much for answering, beginning to answer the question, but I didn't hear anything you said, but I'll go back and listen. But thank you guys so much, because this has been a great, great help.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right.
Audrey, if I can interject, all you need to do is just hire CJ and you're done. I can hear the nervousness in your voice. Look, so when you said you're new, I'm 4 years in, girl, and I'm still nervous. So hang in there. No, I'm not nervous. I can hear the nervousness in your voice. So I'm just saying,
okay.
I'm going to get a good CPA. Yeah. Yeah, when you're talking to the CPA about, I ain't know all that. I ain't realize. I could hear it.
Well, Miss Audrey, just know you are not alone. Those of us 4 years ago that just went all crazy with all these coins to find out we had to pay taxes on each one of those transactions, I'm telling you, it was a nightmare. So I'm hoping that those of you that are new to this space get in and figure out that it is so much easier to buy and hold your Bitcoin and do as Mr. CJ, the smart guy, has suggested, and do what you need to do, but just stay in your Bitcoin. So I'm going to say that, and then we're going to move it to Mr. Kenneth. Mr. Kenneth, welcome to the stage.
Hey, Najah. Hey, CJ. I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the valuable information that you're giving this evening. I just have one question. It's a quick question. Well, first, let me tell you, I just started on Clubhouse last year. I started buying and holding last year. I'm doing very well with that. I did get my hands on a couple of ASICs, and I actually started mining the beginning of this year. And so one of my questions, and I'm not sure if you even spoke about it earlier because I came later on in the show, but I just wanted to know, I'm pretty sure it's a taxable event by mining, but is there anything important that I need to know as far as keeping records and so forth when it comes to mining?
So this is actually a great question. This is like one of my favorite questions. So mining is technically income because you're working for it. But there is a court case going on that essentially is saying, that's fighting that and saying, hey, if cryptocurrency is considered property, then why am I going to have to pay taxes on something that grows on my property? Because if you have a house and you have an apple tree, you don't have to pay taxes on the apples on the apple tree. And so, either way, if you ever sell it, spend it, or trade it, there's going to be a capital gains tax. So you're not ever going to really eliminate the taxes on it. But you might be able to just say, hey, look, this is property that grew on my property and I don't have to pay any taxes on it. But when you do decide to sell, just know that your cost basis is zero. So whatever you sell it at, you're going to pay a huge capital gains tax on it versus paying an income tax and then a capital gains tax. But it'll probably be more in your favor. Just make sure you're keeping track of all of that. Just in case you get audited, you do have a fight against it, because that's in court right now, and we'll see how that plays out. How do you keep track of all of it? Just every, I guess, block that you are mining, just keep track of all the rewards that you've received. And then once you've received those mining rewards, keep track of all your transactions, whether you send it to another wallet, which is not taxable, but you still want to keep track of it. Whether you spend it, exchange it for another crypto, or you sell it for US dollars, just keep track of everything. And I typically tell people to keep track of it in one Excel document, and keep that Excel document both, on your computer and maybe in the cloud, just in case your computer gets destroyed, you still have it in the cloud. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. That's a great question, and it's one of my favorites because I want to see how it plays out. But at the end of the day, you're still going to have to pay a capital gains tax no matter what, once you sell it, trade it, or spend it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for that information. But you talked about earlier about donating to eliminate the capital gains. Is that possible with doing that?
Yeah. So if you donate to a 501c3, you don't have to pay capital gains tax on it. The 501c3 does not have to pay any taxes on the donation. They are just required to perform the philanthropical event that they are supposed to do with it. Meaning, if they are educating people, they have to use it for educational purposes. If they are helping elderly people out, they have to use it to help the elderly people out. They can't use it for vacations and things of that nature. Yes, it helps avoid paying taxes on it. And it's actually a write-off, not the full dollar amount of it, but the original cost basis of it is a tax write-off as well. The first 300, if you're single, is a adjustment, which is like the best type of write-off. 600 if you're married. And then anything above that, really anything above 10% of what you make, is in an itemization, which is I would say it's the worst type of write-off. But definitely, I recommend, not financial advice, but I am definitely donating at least $300 to a 501c3 to avoid paying taxes on it, getting the taxable deduction, and to be able to perform a philanthropical event to help somebody out.
All right. Well, thank you. And I'm going to run through some really quick questions. You don't have to answer them, CJ. I'm just going to go ahead and answer them for you really quick because I know you've given of your time. We appreciate it. Daniel on YouTube says he bought an NFT on Nifty Gateway. He sold it with a credit card and sold with credit card. How is it taxed? That would be ordinary income because he did it so quickly, right? Within the time he bought and sold it. That would be ordinary income. I'm going to share that thing. And then where do we find LLC information? No, go ahead. Let me let you.
He bought it with US dollars?
With a credit card, that's US dollars.
Well, because some credit cards like a crypto.com card, that when they spend it, they're actually spending cryptocurrency. So if they're spending US dollars, then it's fine. But if they're spending cryptocurrency, there's a capital gains tax on that crypto on top of the NFT.
Right. So everybody understands that. Well, he said credit card, so I just assumed he was talking about a regular fiat credit card. For KS, she told us that the slides were in presenter mode. It wasn't correct, so I apologize to you for that, sister. Somebody said, where do we find LLC information for each state? You can go to the state in which you're in, the Secretary of State, Department of Secretary of State is where you can find all the information about that. However, if you are a member of the Virtual Underground Railroad, we have a young lady in there named Shalon Douglas, and that is what she does in every single state. She is a startup company guru. That's what Shalon Douglas does. So you can find her in the Virtual Underground Railroad. But again, I set up corporations all the time in both California, Wyoming, Nevada, but I do it for my personal benefit. But they're very, very easy to do, but you can do it yourself. But Shalom is a guru to help you on that. Whoever said that they came in late, you can definitely watch the replay. We will go down to, do you recommend someone just file an LLC for trading crypto, CJ, just for trading crypto?
Yes, I do. I typically tell people to put their long-term crypto in one LLC, and their short-term cryptos in a separate LLC. And if they have a business like NFT flipping or something like that in a separate business, a separate LLC, I do that so that if you ever get sued on a personal level, they can't take your cryptocurrency, as well as if you are doing trading, technically you're supposed to have like a designation to be a trader, but in this crypto space, it's so gray area that I could, there's a case to be made that those can be expenses. So I would definitely recommend having a separate LLC for your short term versus your long term versus your business crypto.
Great info. We got some good I see 4 good questions right here, and I know we're pushing it, so I'm reading fast. Can we include Ethereum gas fees in our cost basis when doing our taxes?
Yes, just like if you get like a desk shipped to your office, you have to, the cost of the desk is an expense, but also the travel to get from point A to point B is an expense as well. Same thing with gas fees for Ethereum. So if you buy an NFT for $100, but the gas fees was $50, your cost basis is now $150.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Enjoy. You asked the question, when do you need to purchase your domain? You can go right now to Unstoppable Domain. You can buy it at any time. You don't necessarily have to buy it before you start doing cryptocurrency. You can do it before you start buying cryptocurrency. You can do that domain name at any time. And again, if you want some further information about domains, I have that in the Virtual Underground Railroad. There's an actual section in there where I deal with domains. I have over 500 domains, and I sell domains regularly. I believe domains is another part of real estate that our community needs to be actually investing in. So again, virtualundergroundrailroad.io. You can get some more info on that. I can help you with that. Sheree asks, how will DeFi transactions be taxed?
I mean, technically they're taxed the same way. How to go about doing that? That's a headache, because most DeFi don't provide exports of transactions. A lot of DeFi, there's no. That's a headache. It's taxable the same way. You're still responsible for it. But I've had some people give me some of their DeFi stuff, like on Pancake Swap and all these different DeFi, and it's just like a load of just crap. Even times if you do export it, it's not even in a readable language. It's in some random weird text formats. So I would recommend doing the best you can. As long as you are under the 25% threshold of being inaccurate, they only have like 3 years to come after you, and their technology right now isn't really as good. So I'm saying to try your best. Don't try to evade because you're saying, hey, they can't trace it. Because if they do trace it and you weren't trying your best and it's obvious, they'll still persecute you. But if you tried your best, you said, hey, look, I know I put in 10,000 in here and I took out 14,000. So I'm paying tax on this $4,000 gain. That to me is your best. Technically, because of all your transactions, it might be higher or lower, but please just estimate as best as you can to keep yourself out of any problems. But DeFi is by far the most difficult place to do taxes. That's why in 2023 they're trying to change it. They're saying, hey, you have to report. If you're a broker, you have to report these transactions. You have to come up with some tax forms because they know it's almost impossible. And it's done like that intentionally. And you still have the responsibility to report any transaction over $10,000 to the IRS within 15 to 30 days of you doing it, or else that is considered a felony.
All right. Kim says, CJ, can you please explain the $600 limit regarding PayPal, Zelle, Cash App transaction? Does this only pertain to business?
Yes. But that's the $600 limit has been around. That's not changed. You were supposed to report it anyway. The only difference is that they are now coming after those individual platforms, and they're forcing the peer-to-peer platforms to report this. But if you're a business, you were supposed to report this stuff anyway. And I've seen some weird thing. Well, there's a Zelle loophole or whatnot. Man, if you're a business, you're supposed to report this stuff anyway. And if you're not, it's tax evasion. So if you get audited, regardless if you're using this Zelle loophole or even if they weren't reporting it, if they see it in your Cash App under audit that you had $1 million worth of transactions, you're supposed to report that. Cash App was before was reporting anything over 20,000. Now that's down to 600. That's due to the infrastructure bill that was just passed. So they say they're coming after the rich people, but they've lowered the limit down to 600. So now you're supposed to report.
That's real rich. That's real rich.
I mean, so nothing's technically changed. It's just that now it's going to be more visible. It applies to businesses, but on a personal level, you might get mixed into that just because you didn't even know. So it's on a case-to-case basis. But they should give you a 1099 type form, which should make it easy. But if you want to dispute it, hire a CPA or write a letter to the IRS.
All right. Well, thank you. And Connie says that was a great presentation, simple and to the point. Someone asked, CJ, can we get a copy of the slides? I am going to say for him right now, because of the space that we're in, and he charges for these consultations and this. I'm gonna speak for him. We all count. I apologize to you. I'm gonna say no, because what's happening in this space is folks are taking our PowerPoints and presenting them as their own. Not to say that you would do that, but we want to make sure that we're keeping proprietary information within within our community and those sorts of things. So you can get with him offline if he chooses to do that. Please know, I just want to say that because somebody asked, like 3 or 4 people asked that, so that's not specifically for you. We all count. I just wanted to share that. And the last question that I see right now says, CJ, can you elaborate on the limits? You said 5K on any transaction or aggregated. That's Jose Nunez.
Yeah, so one of the terms that I heard growing up was keep it under 10 G so the feds don't see, right? Meaning any transaction over $10,000 has to be reported directly to the IRS. And so a lot of, people who weren't trying to get detected tried to keep it under 10,000. They tried to keep it at 99.50 or something, but they didn't know that anything over $5,000, the bank keeps track of it. And so anytime they get audited, if they see this huge paper trail of 99.50 or 9,000 or trying to keep it under that $10,000 limit, that was an easy way for them to get caught either way. So if it was between 5 to 10,000, the bank was legally having to keep track of it. So if they ever get, summoned to present something, they have a report already for you. Anything over 10,000, it goes directly to the IRS up front. And now with digital assets, they've essentially said that those limits now apply to digital assets, because before people were saying, well, that's not currency because it's considered property. And so now that's being added with the new infrastructure bill, is that is now, if it's the same US dollar limits, is going to be the same with digital assets. Technically, they're still trying to make it from 20,000 to 10,000, but it's the same thing.
All right. And thank you for that, CJ. And as you see on the screen, it says CJ will be having a conversation on crypto and taxes on Clubhouse under the Black Bitcoin Billionaires on Monday, January 24th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. So please feel free to join that session. If we did not get to your question, we're going to give CJ a break. I know he said he had to leave in 20 minutes, but there's some really quick questions that I see that I can address for everybody really quickly, because I am one of those that hate to get off, but I'm not going to go past the ones that I see. So if you're putting any new ones up there after 7:40, I'm not answering those, obviously. But really quickly, somebody said, can I donate to my 501c3, or should I have my friend donate to my 501c3 and ask my friend to donate to my 501c3? That would be smart, my brother, having the friend donate to yours and you donate to theirs. And I will tell you a little bit later, because I've been doing 501c3s for a very long time. It is much easier for you to explain how you donated to another one as opposed to donating to your own and them not giving you the credit that you properly deserve. So let me say that. Sites are not available, as we talked about. When we get this is a great question. When we get an LLC for our cryptocurrency, should we include crypto or Bitcoin in the name of the entity? The answer is no. I have several cryptocurrency companies that have crypto and Bitcoin in them, and it's not even like pulling teeth. It is impossible to get a bank account. I've been able to get a bank account only because I've had to do some very creative things that I would not suggest. I am the probably only pioneer in the space right now that has been trying and fighting with them to give us bank accounts in the name crypto or Bitcoin on purpose. So that being said, the only reason you should do that is if you have $1 million that you can leave in the bank on a daily basis. You can then get an account with the company, with the bank called Silvergate. Other than that, there is no bank in America that will give you a bank account under the name crypto or Bitcoin. That is why Swan doesn't say Swan Bitcoin on their account. It says Swan. That's why Binance. That's why Coinbase. That's why Binance. Nobody used crypto, Bitcoin, or blockchain except moi. And I kind of did it on purpose. And I don't know if I'm paying for it, or I guess I am paying for it in a way. But somebody's got to take that charge. And so I would not suggest you do that. Jaminica, really quick. Does 501c3, can you churches, yes, you can donate cryptocurrency for churches giving. Yes, that's absolutely awesome. In fact, I do a thing called Church and Cryptos, and I think a lot of churches will start accepting Bitcoin, because I explained to them that if they had Bitcoin in their treasuries or in their building fund, maybe they would actually build a building, right? Instead of letting it sit in the bank where it's not getting anything. So I think they're going to be more open to that. I'm just trying to see.
While you're reading, can I do one quick question?
Yes.
Okay, CJ, I made 4 people Satoshi millionaires last year. Is that, and I gave them the Satoshis. That's not a taxable event, is it?
No, it's a gift. However, it's not a tax write-off to you, and it's not income to them.
Okay, so still claim it on the 1040, but I don't have to go into talking about it and all of that.
You don't have to claim it. You would just, if you have a transaction under audit, you would just say this is a gift. What you can't do is write it off on your taxes, because if you write it off, then they would have to consider it as income. But if you don't write it off, then they don't write it as income, then you're okay.
I have to claim it and can't write it off. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if you've donated more than $15,000 US dollars worth, then you'd have to pay a gift tax, or at least report that. But if it's under 15,000, you should be good.
All right. Zenobia, I read your thing about several Congressional Black Caucus. Please get with me. Definitely, we have some documentation already for the Congressional Black Caucus. We haven't been able to get it into the right hands, so please send that over. I see Danger Man. Whoop, whoop. What's up, Danger Man? I appreciate you. Y'all don't know, Danger Man was actually my first nonprofit organization. It was called Family Knots Express. And we transported children to visit their incarcerated parents. And Danger Man was actually my first superhero that I purchased. I actually hired him to come do a walkathon to raise money for our transportation to prisons for children. So Danger Man, it is great to see you. And he put felonies ? Up there. Yeah, we don't want nobody getting no felonies. So I think that was back when we were talking about those things. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not gotten your questions answered, because we have to pull out, it is 7:45. This was a great conversation. I want to thank you all for joining Bitcoin Business Basics. We do this once a month at Crypto Blockchain Plug to make sure people are understanding different aspects of what they can do for their businesses, etc., etc. Please feel free to follow Crypto Blockchain Plug, which is an over-the-counter exchange here in Los Angeles. We have moved to a nonprofit structure as well. There's some different things happening with that. But also inside of the Virtual Underground Railroad is where you can have access to myself, to CJ, to several other executives that are working in this cryptocurrency space 24 hours, 7 days a week to really help you understand what you need to do to navigate. So please, again, virtualundergroundrailroad.io is the platform. So looking forward to putting information about today's stuff in there. You can go back and watch the replays. CJ, the smart guy, Mr. Charles J. Kelly, it has been an absolute privilege and a pleasure to be in your presence as always. One more shameless plug. CJ, the smart guy, will be traveling with us on our Digital Financial Revolution tour. So that means he will be in person to see you as we come across the United States on our tour bus, educating folks about cryptocurrency. We will be, and he will be traveling along with us again this year. I think last year he said he met us in 22 cities. He was with us for 22 cities. Super excited about that, and hopefully he'll do 22 cities or more this year as we embark on this new tour. You can get that information as well in the Digital Underground Railroad, Virtual Underground Railroad.io. But thank you, CJ. Are there any closing words? I know we talked you to death today, my brother.
Yeah, for sure. So make sure you check out my YouTube at CJ the Smart Guy, where I talk about the first tour. Every episode I have a different city, and then after each episode talking about each city, I give an interview to somebody that was involved with the tour, whether they were part of the tour itself or where they just showed up. So I try to provide as much information and background, and you just basically take the journey with me from my perspective as a CPA. I think just follow me on all platforms, CJ the Smart Guy. No spaces, no underlines, no dashes, no extra letters, no numbers. Just CJ the Smart Guy. And also, if you guys ever have like a stage name, make sure you get it trademarked so you can, send a cease and desist letter to somebody who tries to take your .cryptos or your .eth or .nfts. Because if you own the trademark, they can't take it. That's my final words.
All right, my brother. Well, thank you again. It has been a pleasure. You are absolutely phenomenal in all that you do. And I'm so very happy to have you in my space. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for your time. You are the most important part of what we do. Our listeners, our followers, our supporters, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you for trusting us with your learning experience. With that, have an incredible night. And thank you for joining another fabulous episode of Bitcoin Business Basics. I am your host, Najah Roberts, aka Young Harriet, leading my people out of financial slavery. I thank you. Peace and blessings. Everybody have an incredible rest of your evening. Thank you all for your support. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
I'm Najah Roberts, host of Ahead of the Crypto Curve. I'm inviting you to join us every Friday this month from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. Our community cannot afford to miss out on this financial revolution. It's time for us to position ourselves to take advantage of what may be the last chance we have to close the wealth gap in America. Don't miss a single episode of Ahead of the Crypto Curve with me, Najah Roberts, every Friday this month, 9 a.m. to 12 noon, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Get money, dollar bills,